Guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. It's nice to have you back. In today's video, we're gonna have a look at how to transfer car ownership in Saudi Arabia. In this video, I would like to majorly cover how to transfer car ownership from a person to person. So I will not be discussing how to transfer the car ownership from bank to a person. I would like to say this in a nutshell in the end. So now let's look at how to transfer car ownership through absher. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Also the notification bell to get notified each time I post a new video. So without any further ado, let's get started. This is Mohammed Suraif. First of all, let's break down the stages of vehicle transfer. Step 1 is the buyer has to pay the 150 SR without government fees. Step 2, the seller creates a request to sell his car through the absher. Step 3, the buyer accepts the request through the absher platform. Step 4, the buyer transfers the money to the absher bank account. Step 5, the seller delivers the car to the buyer, and then the buyer gives the OTP to the seller that he receives the car. Step 6, now the car is transferred. The buyer collects the istimara from Murur by taking an appointment or requesting a delivery through the absher. So this is basically the 6 stages of vehicle transfer ownership through absher. Now let us look at what are the requirements for this process. A few major criteria are both the buyer and seller has to have an absher account. Second thing, the FAHS must be valid. If you don't know what is FAHS is basically the MVPI Motor Vehicle Periodic Inspection Report, kind of stamp that is on the windshield, and you can see the number of year and if it's expired, and you have to get one. It's not a big deal. It's very simple and very easy to get. The next thing is we need to have the vehicle sequence number, the Iqama number or the national ID number, plus the date of birth of the buyer and the seller, and then the IBAN number for the both parties, seller and buyer. Then the price of the vehicle must be between 5,000 SR and 150,000 SR. So it must fit in this category. The buyer has to pay a transfer fee of 150 SR plus 230 SR as a transfer fee to the government for transferring the ownership. So these are the requirements for the car ownership through absher platform. So now let's dive in step by step on how to transfer the car ownership. Let's just elaborate the 6 steps we just mentioned. So now let's get back. The first step was paying the transfer fee of 150 SR as an initial amount. So this amount is paid through the bank account as a sit-down payment. You have to go to the government payments, motor vehicle, and transfer of ownership. There you have to type in the current owner ID and the vehicle sequence number and the buyer's ID, and then you pay the amount of 150 SR. The step 2 is requesting the transfer of ownership from the seller. Now the seller logs into his absher account and go to the services under vehicle services, and then he chooses vehicle ownership transfer. So once he get into the vehicle ownership, he can see all the vehicles that he owns. So he selects one of his vehicle and then requests to sell. So at this moment in time, he have to submit the following details. So the first thing is he's going to enter the value of the car, so how much he's selling it for, and then the ID number of the buyer, and then the date of birth, and then the IBAN number of the seller, where he gets the money credited to his account. Once the seller sends the approval, now the buyer has only 1 hour to accept the transfer. You don't have to pay the complete amount in the 1 hour. You just need to get into the absher and then sign in, just accept the car under his name. How does the buyer accept his car? The same way we went. Go to the vehicle services and then ownership transfer. Instead of seller, he chooses the buyer, and then he will have the request of the car, and then he just accepts it. Also, the buyer needs to add his IBAN number just in case if the transaction gets failed. Now that the both parties have accepted the request of transferring the vehicles, both the parties receive SMS from the absher. Buyer will get an absher message with an account number, basically with an IBAN number. So buyer needs to make a payment to this beneficiary. So now the buyer goes to his bank account and creates this beneficiary and transfers the money to this account. At the same time, the seller can see how much amount of the money is being paid. So the buyer has around 3 days to make the payment. So he can see like in a D graph. I don't know if it is the right usage, but in a D graph with how much percentage has been paid. Once it is fully paid, now the next stage is the delivery of the vehicle. Now the seller can log into his absher and go to the same place and then just click on the details under the vehicle, and then if you scroll down, you have a small terms and conditions to agree on. Just check the boxes and then hit deliver the vehicle. Now at the same time, the buyer is supposed to receive an SMS from absher, just a 4-digit OTP, one-time password. Buyer gives the OTP to the seller and then the seller agrees it. At the same time, the car deal is closed. Now the buyer's absher is basically updated with the vehicle. So now if the buyer checks under the vehicle services, he can see his car being transferred to his name. Once you finish the transfer, you need to collect the istimara from the Murur by taking an appointment. I just underlined that, appointment. So you need an appointment to go to any of the ministries right here. So it's really convenient that you just choose your preferred time, your preferred date, and then you just go. So this is like a pretty good thing right now that we have an appointments. And also if you want the istimara to be delivered, you just need to pay around 17 SR. That's really convenient. So you just pay the 17 SR to the Saudi Post, and then they can deliver your istimara to you. So voila, this is how you transfer your car in Saudi Arabia. So don't forget to check out, before you make the transfer, you need to have the vehicle insurance. I have already done a video on that. I will also leave the link in the description box below. And this is how you complete a transfer ownership in Saudi Arabia. We just also talked about that I would share how you transfer the ownership from the bank. So basically, when you are trying to transfer a car from the bank to your name, basically an owner of the car needs to sell his car from bank to you, then you just go to the bank and clear off the payments, and then you need to pay around 550 SR transfer fee depending on the bank. Sometimes it is even 850 SR. That's ridiculous, I know, but it is what it is. And then you submit all the documents required from the bank, and then the car is transferred under your name, and you get your new vehicle registration, basically istimara, within the next 2 weeks. Then this is how you transfer the car ownership. So that's it for this video. So I hope this video was really helpful. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And also don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And also don't forget to share this video with someone who is gonna buy a car or who's in need of these ideas on how to transfer cars. Just share this video to them. I hope this will be really helpful. With that being said, this is Mohammed Suraif signing off, and I will see you all in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.